Shabbat Shalom. Good Shabbos, good evening. Welcome to Congregation Dor Tamid in our Friday evening Kabbalat Shabbat worship service. It is so lovely to be here with all of you tonight as we welcome in the Shabbat all of you who are here in our sanctuary, as well as all of you who are joining us virtually via Zoom or Facebook, our website or YouTube. We are so glad that whatever reason you've come together tonight as this community, that you have come together tonight. Because we do come together on this Shabbat as we do each week for a variety of reasons. First and foremost, we come together because it's Shabbat, because we are given this opportunity each week to take a step back, rest and reflect and renew ourselves from the week that was before the week to come. Some of us are here tonight because we are remembering a loved one who we have lost either recently or at this season in years past. And we seek the comfort of community as we remember them and as we walk through the valley of the shadow. Others are here because they are saying a prayer for a loved one who is in need of healing blessings. And we will raise our voices up together in those prayers of healing during our service. And finally, many of us are here tonight because we are celebrating a simcha this weekend, as tomorrow morning during our Shabbat morning worship service, we will celebrate the bat mitzvah of Sadie Harris. So we welcome her and her family, both immediate and extended, to our service tonight as we kick off what is going to be a phenomenal weekend for Sadie and her family as she celebrates this milestone on her Jewish journey. Whatever the reason is that we come together tonight, we are here together as community, and it is a beautiful thing, as the Psalms remind us on page 128.
Hine ma tovu manayim sheverachim gam yachad. 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 Hine ma tovu manayim sheverachim gam yachad.
As we do each week, we begin Shabbat by bringing more light into creation. And so to do that, I'm going to invite Sadie and her family to come forward to kindle our Sabbath lights as we all turn to page 120.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
We turn now in our prayer books to page 130 for Kabbalat Shabbat, our service for welcoming in the Sabbath. Lechu neranna l'Adonai, Naria litzur yishenu, Nekad mafanav betoda, Bizmirot Naria lo. Come, let us sing joyously to Adonai. Raise a shout for our rock and deliverer. Let us come into God's presence with praise. Let us raise a shout for God in song. For Adonai is a great God, the great ruler of all divine beings.
Shiru Adonai Kol Haaretz. Shiru Adonai Shir Chadash. Shiru Adonai Kol Haaretz. Shiru Adonai Shir Chadash. Sing unto God all the earth a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God and we'll all sing along. All the earth a new song unto God. Shiru Adonai Kol Haaretz. Shiru Adonai Shir Chadash.
Page 133. Mizmor Shiru Ladonai Shir Chadash. Ki niflot asa Hoshia lo yiminu uzroa kodsho. A psalm, sing to Adonai a new song. For God has worked wonders. God's right hand, God's holy arm, has won God victory. Adonai has manifested God's victory, has displayed God's triumph in the sight of the nations. God was mindful of God's steadfast love and faithfulness toward the house of Israel. All the ends of the earth beheld the victory of our God. Hariu Ladonai kol haaretz, pitzchu v'rananu v'zameru. Raise a shout to Adonai, all the earth. Break into joyous songs of praise. We turn now in our prayer books to page 142 as we prepare to welcome in the Sabbath angels with the singing of Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlakim, Akadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malchei Hamakim Akadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Ni L'Shalom Malachei Hashalom Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim Akadosh Baruch Hu. Seitchem L'Shalom Malachei Hashalom Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim Akadosh Baruch Hu. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim Akadosh Baruch Hu.
We turn now in our prayer books to page 144 as we prepare to transition into Mari of our evening service with the Shema and its blessings. And to lead us in the Chatzi Kaddish, I call forward our Bat Mitzvah, Sadie Harris.
Yikada Yikada Shmei Rab
Amen.
Be'alma divara kerute v'yamlich malchute Becha yechon uvyonechon Uvchaye dechol Beit Yisrael Bagala Bagala Uvizman Kariv V'yimeru Amen. Yeshemei Rabba Mevorach Le'alam U'lamei Almayach Yitbarach Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yit pa'ar, v'yit roman, v'yit naseh, v'yit hadar, v'yit haleh, v'yit halal, shemei dekudasha berichu. Le'ela min kol berachata v'shirata.
Tushbechata v'nechemata na'amiran be'alma v'imveru amen. Yai lai lai, ya lai lai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai, ya lai lai lai. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Barechu et Adonai Amorach. Baruch Adonai Amevorach le'olam va'ed. Yalalai, 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 yalalai.
Page 149, together at the top of the page. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows.
Baruch atah Adonai,
Ha'ma'ariv Aravim.
Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amecha ata, Amcha ata. Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shofenu, Uvkumenu na'asiach b'chukecha, V'nismach b'divrei Toratcha, U'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. Ki hem chayenu, Be'orech yameinu, Uvahem nege yomam v'layla, Nege yomam v'layla. Bi'avatcha tasir, Mimenu le'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev amo Yisrael. Ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael. Adonai Eloheinu. Adonai Echad. Ve'ata et Adonai Elohecha b'chol livavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibartam b'shivtecha b'veitecha Ulechtecha vaderech, uvishokbecha uvkumecha, ukshartam leot al yadecha, vehayu letotafot beinenecha, uktaptam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, Adonai Elohechem Emet.
We turn now to page 157 as we read responsively. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth.
The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love.
From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way.
Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces.
Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed.
Yalla la yalla la 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 yalla la la yalla la 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 yalla la 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 yalla la 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 yalla la la yalla la 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 yalla la yalla la 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 yalla la la yalla la 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 yalla la 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 yalla la la yalla la la yalla la la la. Bikamocha b'nei Adonai, bikamocha neder b'kodesh, nora tehilot osei pele, nora tehilot osei pele. Malechotecha ra'u banecha, bokei hayam mipnei Moshe. Zeli anu ve'yameru, Zeli anu ve'yameru, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Mikamocha b'nei Adonai, mikamocha neder b'kodesh, nora tehilot osei pele, nora tehilot osei pele. Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael.
Page 161, we sing together this prayer, asking God to watch over us tonight.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storm. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkivenu, Leshalom. V'ha'amidenu, Shomrenu l'chayim. Ufros aleinu, Sukat shlomecha. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkivenu, Leshalom. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storm. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותיו, ברית עולם, ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם, ברית עולם, ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. אותי לעולם. אותי לעולם.
We turn now to page 164 as we rise for the tefillah.
Yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai lai lai. Adonai sifatai titach, ufi agi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל, אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ברופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו בשני עפר, מחמוך בעל גבורות, ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישוע, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש. Ose shalom bimromav, uyase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru imeru amen. Yase shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. 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 Yase shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
One of my favorite, we'll say Jewish words, because it can be found in both Yiddish and in Hebrew, is chutzpah. Chutzpah. The exact translation of it is nerve. And usually when you say chutzpah, it's not always a good thing. Oh, what chutzpah. Can't believe he sent that meal back again at the restaurant. What chutzpah. I can't believe they asked for this favor again. What chutzpah. It's not always a good thing. But in this week's Torah portion, we see an example of chutzpah that is truly holy. For in this week's Torah portion, Parshat Vayera, we find a lot of stories. It's one of the, I would say, densest of our Torah portions in terms of the narrative elements that fall in the Parsha. We begin with the angels coming to visit Abraham at the tents of Mamre, and him inviting them in, washing their feet. And because of his hospitality and that of his wife Sarah, them blessing him with the news of a child, even though they were both in their 90s and therefore, and up till then, childless. We then go from there to the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, the two wicked cities that were destroyed by God. And we finish the Parsha with the birth of Isaac, his weaning ceremony, and the Akedah, the binding of Isaac, of which we read on Rosh Hashanah. So where's the chutzpah? When Abraham finds out that Sodom and Gomorrah are about to be destroyed, that God is going to rain fire and brimstone on these two cities because of their extreme wickedness, Abraham stands up and says, wait, and calls out God and calls forth to the creator of heaven and earth and says, shouldn't the judge of the whole world do justly? Abraham, our father, our patriarch, had the chutzpah to challenge God. Abraham challenges God and says, wait, God, what if there are 100 righteous people in the cities? Will you destroy it then? God comes back to Abraham and says, okay, Abraham, for you, because of our relationship, I'm not going to destroy it for 100. There's 100 good people, the cities will be saved. So Abraham, already exhibiting his holy chutzpah, pushes his luck. Wait, God, what about 50? What if there's 50 righteous people in the cities? Will you destroy it then? God once again comes back and says, okay, for 50, for you, Abraham, for 50, I won't destroy the cities. Pushing his luck even further, Abraham asks again, how about 20? God says, for you, Abraham, 20. And one more time, Abraham says, what about 10? There's a minion in the city. There are 10 righteous people. Will you destroy it? And God says no. Now, the spoiler alert of the story is that there aren't 10 righteous people and the cities are destroyed. But the moral is, the lesson here is that Abraham had that chutzpah. He had that holy chutzpah, that holy nerve to challenge God, to challenge that which is greater than himself. The beginning of Parshat Noach, we read that Noach was an ish tzaddik tamim haya b'dorotav, a righteous person in his generation. But Abraham is considered righteous without that qualification of only in his generation. And it is for this moment here that we read about in this week's Parsha, this chutzpah that he shows, that he saw an injustice or a potential injustice, and he spoke up. He went to God and said, no, this isn't right. And for that, he is considered by our tradition to be a righteous person par excellence. And as such, an example to all of us, that when we see injustice, when we see wrongs in the world, even if they are coming from those we are close to, even if they are coming from someone who may hold power over us, an employer, an official, the Malach Malchei HaMlachim, the Kadosh Baruch Hu, the Holy One of Blessing. It is up to us, as the descendant of Abraham, to find that chutzpah in ourselves. And as members of the Jewish people and as those connected to the Jewish community, we've all got some chutzpah, to find it within ourselves and to speak up, to use that nerve, to make it a holy chutzpah, to find that time, that way to speak out and fight the injustice in the world. Because if the creator of the world, if the judge of the whole world must do justly, so then should each one of us. With our hearts opened by words of Torah, we take a moment and pause in our service to think of those members of our community who are ill. Some are at home recovering, some are in the hospital. Some have diseases and illnesses from which they may never recover. This week, we think especially of Richard Zuspin, Lee Silverstein, Jill Vantine, Eleanor Goodman, Yuli Makovich, Libby Routman, Laurel Phoenix, Marjorie Whitmore, Jerry Phillips, Claire Levin, Paul Kershon, Reva Fisher, Chandler Jacobs, Aaron Withers, Brianna Jacobs, Leslie Knight, Bert Singerman, Stephen Schiff, Mateo Velasquez, Dr. David Maisel, Janelle Siegel, Rachel Davis, Max Jacobs, Kathy Waldner, Susan Abrams, Jerry Jacobs, Christopher Denton, Barney Greenberg, Jerry Gimple, Phyllis Lapin, Vivian Perini, Libby Katz, Betty Olson, Miriam Balus, and Marnie Hanley. If you are thinking of someone who is in need of a prayer for healing, I invite you to share their name with the community as my eyes meet yours, or if you are joining us virtually tonight, to add their name to the chat. We think of all of them. We ask for God's healing presence to be with them, to bless them with a refuah shlema, a speedy recovery of body, spirit, and soul. We ask God to be with those who are afflicted of illness, who are suffering from COVID, from other illnesses as well. We ask for God to be with the victims of violence around the world. And we ask for God to bring strength and passion and love to those who care for the sick each day. We ask for God to bless each of them and all of us with this blessing on page 371.
Mi shebeira avotenu מקור הברכה לאמותינו. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Bisheberach imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
We turn now in our prayer books to page 568 as we rise for the Kaddish. 586.
Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, latet gedula liyotzeh breshit, shehudo teshamayim v'yosed haaretz, umoshav yikaro b'shamayim mima'al, ushchinatu zo begove meromim, hu Eloheinu einod, v'anachnu korim, umishtachavim u'bodim, Lifnei melech malchei hamlachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu, V'nemar v'aya Adonai, L'melech al kol haaretz, Bayom hahu, Yeh Adonai echad, U'shemo echad.
Please be seated. There are moments in our lives that many of us have that we'll always remember where we were or what we were doing in that moment. And usually these occur when big and often tragic news happens. 27 years ago, according to the Hebrew calendar, this week was one of those moments. For me, I was at my synagogue at a religious school lock-in, and my rabbi, Norman Cohen, who always had a smile on his face, came downstairs crying and told us of the death of Yitzhak Rabin, whose yahrzeit falls on this Shabbat. So in honor of the memory of Prime Minister Rabin, as we prepare to say Kaddish, we turn to page 658 to read a part of this song of peace that were his final words, his final prayer. Shnu la shemesh la'alot laboker leha'ir. Hazakiu Shabbat filot otanu lo tachzir. Miasher kava nero ufe'afar nitman. Bechimar lo ya'ira lo yachziro lechan. Let the sun rise, the morning dawn. The purest of prayers will not bring us back. Bitter crying will not awaken or return those whose candle has gone out and who have been buried in the dust. It won't return anyone to us from dark pits. Here neither joy of victory nor songs of praise will be of any use. Al tagidu yom yavo, taviu et hayom, ki lo chalom hu uvchol hakikarot hariu la shalom. Don't say the day will come, bring the day, because it's not a dream. In every city square, cry out for peace. This sacred moment of our Shabbat worship, we think longingly and lovingly of those taken from us both recently and at this season in years past. We are in a period of Shiva, the first 7 days since their funeral, of Anne Perlman, and Charles Goodman. And we are in a period of Shloshim, the first 30 days since her funeral, of Barbara Kirshner. We mark the yardside, the anniversary of their passing on this Shabbat, of Mark Eskenazi, Lillian Werber, Carol Lee Golden, Myrtle Wish, David Steinberg, Louis Pasillo, Jack Salowitz, Ann Adler, Michael Talent, Richard Rocco, Leslie Grunwald, Conrad Alfred Strauss, Donald Schack, and Yitzhak Rabin. If you are remembering someone on this Shabbat, I invite you to share their name with the community as my eyes meet yours, or to add their name if you are virtually joining us to the chat. Zichronam livracha. May all of their memories continue to always be a blessing. As we remember them, linking their memories to the millions of our people who have no one to say Kaddish for them, the thousands and thousands who have died as a result of the pandemic, and the Shmei Rabbah, the great, holy, and awesome name of God that we praise now with one voice, rising as one community, as we turn to page 598 for the Mourner's Kaddish. Please rise. Yitgadal v'yitgadash Shemei Rabbah, Be'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, B'chayei chon v'yomei chon v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, B'agala v'zman kari v'imru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam la'mei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, V'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal Shmei d'kudsha brichu, Le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, Tushbachata v'nechemata, Da'amiran b'alma v'imru Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, Hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn, and comfort all the bereaved here and everywhere with the blessing of peace. Together we all say, Amen.
Ose shalom imromav, uyase shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'yimeru Amen.
Please be seated. Shabbos, everyone.
Shabbos.
It was wonderful being with all of you tonight, both in person and virtually. So we welcomed in this Shabbat. Just a few brief announcements before Kiddush and Motzi and our closing song and benediction. Tomorrow morning, we will meet again here in the sanctuary as we continue celebrating this Shabbat with our 10:30 a.m. Shabbat morning worship service, where we will also celebrate the Bat Mitzvah of Sadie Harris, where Sadie will lead us in prayer, read from the Torah, and then teach us from its ancient wisdom. And Sadie, we are looking forward to celebrating with you and your family tomorrow morning during services. On Sunday morning during religious school, Play Tamid will meet, as well as our B'nai Mitzvah class for seventh graders, sixth and seventh graders who are getting close to their bar or bat mitzvah.
You're off the hook, Sadie. You're off the hook.
On Monday, Molly's Hebrew class will meet at 10 a.m. And on Wednesday, we will continue studying the book of Deuteronomy during our Wednesday morning Torah study. At 7:30 p.m., there is a women's health seminar. For information, please see this week's e-announcements that came out this past Thursday. On Thursday, our knitting and crochet group will meet at 1 p.m. And on Friday, next Friday night, Musical Shabbat returns to CDT with a spooky musical Shabbat, followed by a special sweet oneg and an opportunity to make your own golem. What's a golem? Come next week and find out. There was also a information in the e-blast. You can check there. But come next week and find out. Really find out. So we hope to see you next week for Musical Shabbat. I'm so excited that After over a year and a half, Musical Shabbat is coming back. Just a few other notes of services coming up as well. On November 5th, our congregation will honor Veterans Day during our Shabbat services, and we will be inviting anyone in the congregation who is a veteran or current active duty military or Coast Guard to come along with their family, spouses, children, or parents to receive a special blessing during services. So I hope that if you are a veteran or currently serving, you will come and get a blessing, and that everyone will come to honor those who have served this nation. The following week on November 12th is a very special Shabbat as well. We will be having a Shabbat of memory in remembrance of Kristallnacht, the night of broken glass, which is often seen as the official beginning of the Holocaust. And during our service, our Shabbat evening service, Art Meyer, who is a member of our congregation and a survivor of the Holocaust, will be sharing his story during services. So please try and come to that service as well. There are only, unfortunately, so many more opportunities to hear directly from the survivors. And it's a really special moment that we have coming up in just a few weeks. We also have other things coming up in November and December, both in services and throughout the week here at Dor Tamid. So please keep an eye on the website, on Facebook, in your emails, and also the newsletters. We want to wish or extend a special thank you this week to David Bloom, Leslie Radoff, Howie Rubenstein, Sharon Miller, and Jay and Victoria for all of your hard work last week, staining and painting the fence. It looks beautiful. So two of you are here, so thank you. But thank you to all of them who did so much work. And thank you to everybody who really showed up and did a lot of work last week on CDT Cares Day. We're going to conclude our service now with a Kiddush and a Motzi and a closing song and benediction. So for Kiddush and Motzi, I'm going to ask us all to turn to page 123. I'm going to invite Sadie to come forward to help us lead Kiddush, and I'm going to ask everyone to please rise.
Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu B'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon hinigilanu Zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit Ki hu yom techila lemikra'ei kodesh Zecher letziat Mitzrayim kivanu bacharta Biotanu kidashta Mikol hamim V'shabbat kodecha B'ahava u'v'ratzon Hinchalatanu Baruch atah Adonai Mikadesh Shabbat. L'chaim.
Sadie, I'm going to ask you now to uncover the challah. As we sing together.
Amotzi lechem min haaretz. We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Te'avon, as Sadie is having that first piece of challah on behalf of all of us, we turn to page 642 for our closing song and benediction that comes to us from the words of Psalm 29, saying, "May God grant strength to our people. May God bless all of us and all creation with peace."
Adonai oz le'amo yiten. Adonai oz le'amo yiten. Adonai oz le'amo yiten. Adonai yivarech et amo. Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. Adonai yivarech v'shalom v'shalom. Adonai oz le'amo yitin. Adonai oz le'amo yitin. Adonai oz le'amo yitin. Adonai yivarech et amo.
Shabbat shalom.
Good Shabbos.